Welcome to episode 60 of the What Shara Made podcast. Welcome back if you are a returning viewer, and a big hello if this is the very first time you're joining me. I've got a couple of FOs and a few whips and a few future cast-ons and a design whip to talk about, and I might as well dive straight into it. I've got a really long running whip here, and you probably recognise it. It's my spring socks. Yes, I know spring in the southern hemisphere is almost over, and I'm still working on my spring socks. Even though they're a tiny project, I'm still going on them. Here's the first one. You probably recognise it from several episodes ago if you are a regular viewer. Just an ankle sock with a all over lace pattern on the instep. I don't know how obvious that is. It's actually, we discovered in the last episode, it was really hard to see the detail of that lace pattern, but it actually makes a really nice texture. Quite bumpy, but really nice in the instep there, with a little picot edge along the top. I don't know how easy that is to see. With some hand-dyed yarn that I dyed many years ago. I think we figured out maybe 7 or 8 years ago, that had been knit into about 20 other projects and then unravelled and re-knit into something else and unravelled and re-knit into something else, and now it's going to be these socks, and they're staying these socks. So it's knit up in an interesting way with some interesting pooling, which I love. I love flash pooling. Some people hate it. I love it for most times, most projects. It doesn't always work, but most of the time I love it. And this is how far I have gotten on the second sock, and you see some differences in the pooling there, which I was really interested to see how that was going to happen in the second sock. So that has been interesting to watch that happen, but some similarities and some differences in the pooling. This second sock, I'm up to starting the toe, but I've paused because this is my only portable project. So I don't work on it when I'm at home. I only ever work on it when I'm out and about, on the go, so when I'm on the bus or the train or wherever. Or I know I'm going to be waiting in a waiting room or something like that. I don't work on it at all at home. That's why I think this project's taken so long, because it has been my only portable project for a really long time. But that's okay, that's fine. So that is this little whip, still going, just waiting for its toe. I have got a couple of little journeys coming up, so it's probably going to get its toe pretty soon, and I'm going to need to find myself another portable travel project, which is kind of exciting. So I'll have to start thinking about another little travel project, and maybe I can kill two birds with one stone there and make my next travel project into also perhaps a gift knit for Christmas. I think that would be a sensible idea, don't you? So that is that new knit. You can actually get a little bit of a better idea of the lace stitch on this second sock, I think. It's almost in a grid pattern as well. Almost matches my nail polish too. And this pattern is one that I've just written myself, and I'll probably write it up and publish it because I've had a really great response from showing it on the last podcast, which is really nice. And it's actually a really fun and easy pattern to knit up, and it's resulted in some really nice socks. I'll wear them around once they're finally finished and see how they go. And then I'll decide whether I'm going to write up the pattern. But really enjoying those when I get the chance to knit on them. So that's my first whip. My next whip is a little, I think it's probably going to end up being a design that I will publish, but it's going to be a cardigan for me. This is just the prototype, and when I hold it up you're going to think to yourself, are you sure that's for you, Shara? But it is, trust me. I've done the calculations and I've redone the calculations and I've done the calculations again, and then I've unravelled it and done them again and then realised they were right in the first place and redone it all last night. But I know it looks tiny, doesn't it? But it is indeed for me. This is just the start. Let me hold it up to you closer so you can't really see, but that's what I've got so far. So I did start this last night, and now that I'm looking at it on the screen, it's actually showing up a lot blacker as opposed to bluer it's showing up blacker on the screen than it is in real life, because in real life it's sort of got a bit of a navy blue or bluer tinge. Obviously you can see it's like speckled, but it's meant to be the black colour in this yarn range, but in real life it's actually got a bit of a navy blue tinge to it, and I really wanted the black tinge to it. I really wanted the black colour, but it doesn't come in a true black speckle, but on the screen it looks really, really black, well, grey, black speckle, especially because my dress is navy and white. And when I hold it up there, it really does look a true black speckle. Just looking at the ball here in front of me. Anyway, that's interesting, but it doesn't matter, I like it either way. The yarn is a Cascade yarn. I don't have a label with me, of course, because that would have been too helpful, but hopefully I'll put the name of it here. It's a pure cotton, and it's like a speckle dyed cotton, which is interesting, and I really like the way it's working out. And this is exactly what I had in my mind when I was thinking about this design. Well, I was actually thinking about the finished piece that I wanted to wear, and then thought, why don't I just make it into a design, because that would be very practical. Make something that I want to wear but also write the pattern at the same time. And it's going to be a V-neck cardigan, quite simple, but something that I wanted to wear was a crocheted cotton V-neck cardigan with 3/4 length sleeves that was in this sort of speckled fabric. But of course you could do it in any colour you like, you don't have to do it in a speckled yarn. This is and sort of a cropped style, because that's the style that I like to wear. It suits most of my clothes and it suits my style, and that's what I like to wear. But you could make it longer if you liked, of course. This yarn it's meant to be a 4-ply or fingering weight, but it's quite a healthy fingering weight. It's possibly verging on a sports weight or a 5-ply yarn. I might do a wraps per inch test later on just to check that sort of more to like an industry standard to see. And I might do a few more swatches with some more yarns that I know really are an industry standard 4-ply or fingering weight yarn, just to test typical gauge responses to this pattern, because sometimes when you write a pattern using a very specific yarn, it can cause issues when other people then go to make the pattern using different yarns, which people of course are going to do, because not all yarns are always available to everybody, and not everyone wants to use the same yarn that the designer has made the pattern in, and things like that. I very rarely use the same yarn that the designer has used in their pattern. So you do have to make allowances for yarn substitutions and things like that. So I will do a few further tests on that with yarn substitutions, taking those things into consideration. And I'm hoping to get this finished rather quickly, because I'm going away on a few little short trips in December, and I want to take it with me. I want a nice cotton cardigan to take with me, because in the southern hemisphere where I am, it's going to be summer, and it's already very, very warm. We've had a heat wave, and today is meant to be the last day of the heat wave, and it is revoltingly hot. It's atrocious, and the sun has now gone behind some clouds. I'm looking out my big window here, and it's overcast, and it's really humid, and it's revolting, and apparently, fingers crossed, we're in for a massive storm tonight, and it better come. I don't want to get ripped off. If I don't get a storm tonight, I want my money back from the weatherman. We better get a storm tonight. Just saying. But apparently, today's the last day of the heat wave. I've had enough. So summer's not looking good for me. But anyway. So, anyway, I want this cardigan finished ASAP, if not before. So I can wear it. I want to wear it. I know, it looks funny when I put it up. Oh, I've made myself a baby's cardigan. So I'm really looking forward to this. My plan with this is actually to do the button band, the wrist cuffs and the waistband in knit. So to finish it off in knitting. So not crochet, but knitting. And I wondered how that would go with other users of the pattern, whether I need to have an optional crochet finishing as well, just in case people only crochet and they want to make the pattern, or if most people who crochet can also knit. Because I don't want to exclude anyone from making a pattern, but that's the design that I'm going for. It's going to be finished in knit, but I wonder, do I need to include a crochet finishing? Probably. I don't really want to. That's like writing two patterns then. I'll see how I go. But I'm really looking forward to making these, because I want to wear it. So that's this pattern. That's this week. I'm really enjoying working on it. It's a really, really nice yarn to work with. Super easy to work with, and it's not fluffy or dusty like other cottons. I often find cotton a bit gross to work with. I don't really like knitting or crocheting with cotton because it makes my hands feel disgusting, and I hate all the dust and fluff that comes off the cotton yarn because it gets in my face and up my nose and in my eyes, and I hate the feeling of the cotton fluff on my hands. It just feels gross to me. I don't like it at all. But this is actually beautiful, and it's not shedding at all, which is, I was worried about that, but it is not like that at all. It is beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and it comes in, this yarn comes in a really wide range of gorgeous colours. Now that I've worked with this bit, I'm really tempted to go back and get some other colours and do some other things. And I got this from beautiful Emily from Maker Maker. Her shop is in Lygon Street in Brunswick in Melbourne, and it's a gorgeous shop. Oh my god, I'm actually going to pop back in there next week, I think, treat myself. And I saw this on her Instagram for the Maker Maker store, and I had to go in straight away and get some because I could not leave it behind. It was too tempting, and as soon as I saw it, I started coming up with ideas of how I could use it, and this was the cardigan that I came up with. This was the design, so that was exciting. And something else that I got while I was at Maker Maker was this, and this was something else that I saw on the Maker Maker Instagram, and I could not leave it behind. I'm wondering if you can see that on screen. Yes, you can, because I don't think I can pick it up without boinging it. Oh, maybe I can. Ooh, isn't that amazing? Oh my god. Oh, okay, so this yarn is, oh, we'll be able to see that. Am I holding it still enough so that you can read it? So this is called Coastal, and actually I can't read that because I haven't got my glasses on, but also it's in yellow, and yellow text is always really hard to read. Okay, so it's spinning yarns, weaving tails, and it's superfine lace weight, suitable for weaving, warp and weft, hand wash with wool wash, but it's also, you can knit and crochet with it, you can do whatever you want with it, and it's actually quite soft, and it's a blend of 55% lamb's wool and 45% cotton, and it's not itchy at all. And Emily had a sample knit up in the store, and I had a little play with it, and I like put it all on my skin, make sure it wasn't itchy. And I'm actually going to knit myself a cardigan out of these babies. I knew that was going to happen. That's what I thought was going to happen in the first place. But anyway, we got that far without it happening. In this sort of, what if I put them that way? Well, I'm going to pick them up like that. There. In this ombre fade. Maybe I'm about to get into the fade thing. Do a fade. There you go. I'm doing a fade. Cardigan, but I'm just going to do it from my head, I think. Cardigan, but like a light summer, spring cardigan. Also to take away on my holiday, but I don't know if I'm going to get it finished before I go away. I might be knitting it while I'm away. That might be my travel project, my big travel project. But I haven't really thought about the logistics, and I wondered, I don't really want to have big blocks of colour changing. I wanted to do it in a true fade kind of a style, and I wondered, because it's lace weight, if I worked two strands together and where the transitions of the two colours happen, maybe I could, say for example, if I started with the red, work with two strands of the red together to begin with, so one from the outside, one from the inside of the ball, and work with two strands of the red together, and then as the transition between these two colours begins, work with a strand of the coral and a strand of the red together so that the transition is a fade, and then work with two strands of the coral together, and then when the transition between the coral and the tangerine begin, work with a strand of the coral and a strand of the tangerine together so that they fade into each other, and so on. That's how I would prefer it to go, but I'm not sure about the logistics of that. I'll have to do some gauge swatching and calculations and figure out the spacing and the exact depth, and I think row gauge is going to be quite critical in that sense, and then figuring out how much to leave for my sleeves. Not really sure. I might have to make another trip in to see Emily before I do that. I might have to do some calculations before I see Emily, just in case I need to pick up some more of these. But that's going to be what these beautiful creatures turn into, and it took me so long to pick these 5 colours. In the end, I had to get Emily to decide for me, or she would have had to kick me out at closing because I still would have been there trying to choose colours. This range of yarn comes in over 50 colours, so it was a challenge for someone who is obsessed with colour like me. So yeah, thanks Emily for helping me. I probably still would have been there. So that's that future cast on. Now this is an FO. Now I showed you this in the last episode, and it was sort of it was really hard to tell what was happening with it. I could see that it was kind of impossible to see what was happening with it actually. So it's my other advent option, but there's actually a third advent option that I'll talk about after this. But anyway, this was the one that I was talking about in the last episode that was still a whip. So don't mind that stitch marker there. That's there to just remind me of something in the pattern writing process that's still going on at the moment, just putting a few fine touches on it. But the patterns are almost ready for release. Had a few people asking about when they're going to be ready. So let's have a look at this. It's really long, so I can't show you the whole thing in the screen at once. And now I'll show you the other side. So you sort of get an idea of the shape of this baby. Now I'm going to show you one of the ways that you can wear it, and you don't have to wear it like this. There's a million ways you can wear it, but this is one of the ways you can wear it. So just tuck that end around there. Coiling that one there. And then tuck that in there. So it's like this little, I'll tuck that one around the back. You can get this real, get a bit of a cowl thing happening. So you get the 3 layers of the 3, get all the different colours showing through. And of course, if you were wearing it around the other way, you'd get those colours happening as well. But of course, you get all the colours poking through, because when the brioche stretches apart, you get all the colours showing. I am getting heat stroke while I'm talking to you like this. It's probably about 37 degrees outside. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's like 1,000,000 degrees, I'm sure, close to. There's probably it's over 100 degrees in Fahrenheit, or roughly thereabouts. Anyway, I'm really hot, so hang on. So please appreciate my sacrifices that I'm making for you. So this is how I've been wearing it around when the weather is permitting, and when you're not wearing a summer linen dress, it looks a bit better. And you don't have to do it in all the different colours, of course. You could just do it in 2 colours if you wanted to, or you could do it in stripes of just a few different colours instead of like 1,000,000 different colours. But it works with an advent calendar. That's what it was initially designed for, but of course you could use the pattern for any sort of yarn, and it will work with almost any weight of yarn as well. You don't have to stick with fingering weight yarn. You could use DK, sports weight. It would even work with worsted weight yarn. You could use hand spun yarn, almost anything really you could, as long as all the yarns that you're using together in it were roughly the same weight as each other, then, or same thickness as each other, then it will work. If you've got some slight variations, it actually doesn't matter. Some of these yarns are actually much thicker or thinner than each other, and still works fine. It's all good. They even each other out, it's fine. But I mean, really, I love the way that it sits like this shape, and it's been really easy to wear. Loving it. I am dying a little bit at present because it's a bit hot, but yeah, really enjoying wearing that. But that's just one way to wear it. You don't have to wear it like that. Really hot. I just realised I've got the fans on in here, and you can probably hear that. It's probably being picked up on the microphone. Anyway, so that is this baby. Really enjoyed knitting this. It is really easy. You really don't have to count at anything. You don't need stitch markers for anything because everything, you can read your work, and you literally knit until you run out. There's no wastage. You've got, begins down here on the tiny end, starts with a I-cord cast on. You've got I-cord up both edges, and then it ends with an I-cord bind off, so you've got that balance all the way around, so that you've got nice finish on all the edges, but you've also got that balance with the way it drapes and sits, as well as aesthetically with the I-cord edge all the way around. And it's a nice way to use all those beautiful special minis that you've been saving. I used some really special ones that I've been hanging on to in this scarf, and I'm really loving it. Really loving it. So that is this baby, and I'm really happy with that. So this one is the second of the advent calendar patterns, but like I said, you don't have to use it for an advent calendar. You can use it for anything, any type of yarn, but it does work really well with an advent calendar, a yarn advent calendar. This one was made with a 10-gram yarn advent calendar in mind, but you could do it with anything. Now the third advent calendar pattern, if you recall the mountain range advent calendar wrap that I showed in the last episode, had an excellent response to that. Thank you so much for all the amazing, beautiful, supportive comments about that wrap. Thank you so much to everyone who left comments on the podcast video, or on Instagram, or in person. Everyone, thank you so much. It was really beautiful, really fantastic. Thank you. One thing I did have quite a few comments about was people asking if there was going to be a crochet version, or people saying, I hope there's a crochet version, or I'd love a crochet version. Well, guess what? There is a crochet version. I was already making a crochet version before I put that last video out, but I hadn't announced it because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to finish it before, or in time for it to be ready to be used for advent calendars this year. But I have finished it. It is sitting outside blocking right now, so I can't show it to you because it's pinned down and it's wet. So hopefully I have put pictures of it in here. With any luck, you just saw pictures of the crocheted advent wrap. As you can see, that one was not done, that prototype or that sample was not done with an advent calendar or with multicoloured minis. That was done with 3 colours. It was done with 2 100-gram skeins, and I used almost all of those 2 individual 100-gram skeins of yarn. They were both approximately 400 metres, both those skeins, and I used a 50-gram ball of yarn as well. It's the pattern. That pattern is indeed written for once again a 10-gram advent calendar, a yarn advent calendar, with the addition of another 50-gram ball of yarn. But you may want, depending on your gauge, if you've got a slightly looser gauge than me, which you may have, you might want a little more than a 50-gram ball. So you may want if you're making it with a yarn advent calendar, a 10-gram yarn advent calendar, you want your yarn advent calendar, and then just to be on the safe side, you'd want a 100-gram solid colour, probably in a plain colour like a grey or a cream or a white. That would be my suggestion, just to keep it easy and simple to go with your advent calendar, because you often don't know what's going to be in your advent calendar, so you want to keep your solid colour really simple and really neutral. So a grey or a white or a cream often works well when your colours are going to be a surprise. So you'll see in that wrap there's an interval colour, which is your solid colour, your solid neutral colour between each block of your advent calendar colour, or in the case of the sample, in between each colour of your chosen colours. I did mine just with 2 colours, as you can see. So I had a purple or a lilac, and then which was a solid, and then a variegated pink and purple, and then my interval colour was like a rosebud colour, pale pink colour, but it's the same syncopated chevron as the mountain range. I'm not sure if that's actually going to be the name of the mountain range advent wrap as well. It's the exact same syncopated chevron. It's just the crochet version. I didn't have enough suitable 10-gram minis to do the crocheted wrap in the same way, but I think that is the wrap that I'm going to do with my Rosehip Island advent calendar. I think that's definitely what I'm going to do with mine. I love it. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I can't wait for it to arrive. I got a notification, and shipping notification, that it's on its way. So, oh my god, all I have to do is wait until the 1st of December and not accidentally open it before then. Okay. So that is what is happening. And all the advent calendar patterns will be out before the 1st of December. I'm just putting the final touches on the patterns and taking some photos and getting them all perfect and making sure hopefully there's no typos, and having them all read through again and again, having them edited to make sure they're perfect and ready to go for you. So they'll be all of them will be available before the 1st of December. And you'll be able to get started with your advent calendars or any other yarn. So you don't have to have an advent calendar. You've probably got minis you've probably got enough minis in your stash. You know you do. If you don't have an advent calendar, you can make yourself an advent calendar. Or maybe you've got some other skeins of sock yarn at home already that you want to use. You don't have to do it with a million colours, just do it with 2 colours. It's fine. And I think that's everything except for the winner of the October pattern prize. I have not announced that person yet, and I need to announce that winner. So the October winner for the year-long stash busting craft along, which is happening in my Ravelry group, you will find that all in the Ravelry group, and you'll find a link to the Ravelry group in the show notes below this video. That is still going. You can enter now. It's not closed off. It doesn't matter if you enter now in November or December, whenever. But if you can see your name along the bottom of the screen right now, you are this month's, October's winner. And just contact me via Ravelry and let me know which any pattern on Ravelry that you want, any individual pattern on Ravelry that you want to make, let me know and I will send that pattern to you as your prize this month. So I've randomly selected this person and they are the winner. Congratulations! But that is all, and I will see you all again soon. And thanks for joining me today. Bye!